Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been so long since I've posted on this channel, but there are a lot of reasons for that. Basically, when I stopped posting at the beginning of the year, I really lost a bit of passion with regards to making YouTube videos because I was so busy focusing on my uni work. And then when it came to me having free time, I was so tired that the last thing I wanted to do was like write a review and film it. But it is summer and I have finally found the time to get a bit more inspired in between studying and get back to reviewing. Plus, I've watched some films lately that I've really been aching to review for you guys. So that's my little explanation to where I've been. I'm here. I don't know how long I'll be here for, but in the summer, in the meantime, I'm going to be posting some reviews for you guys, so hopefully you'll like and enjoy them. But the first of the reviews that I'm going to be doing is on a movie called Veronica. It's a horror movie on Netflix and it's a Spanish film directed by Paco Plaza. Now, I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of the names in this cast list or whatever. I'm not a hugely expert Spanish speaker, so I probably will struggle. But this film was released in 2017 and it revolves around a girl called Veronica, and it follows her as she conducts a Ouija board in her school with two of her friends. Now, all of her friends and Veronica want to contact someone through the board, mostly loved ones, but during the board there is a solar eclipse and it kind of causes things to go a little bit awry, so that Veronica is most severely affected by what happens with the board, and as a result she and her family become haunted by this horrible spectral presence, and it's not a nice time for her throughout the rest of the film. So I'll just leave you with that sort of premise for now. I don't really want to spoil anything if you haven't seen it, but I just want to talk for a little bit about the reputation that this film received after being released, because I did hear a lot about it. It's taken me a long time to watch it, but this film garnered quite the reputation prior to me watching it. So I must say that I expected a lot from it. People were saying it was the scariest film since The Exorcist, one of the scariest films of all time. Some people were saying that they couldn't watch it all the way through because they were so frightened, and when they did, you know, they had nightmares for weeks. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm really excited because I love horror films, and if I'm scared by one, that usually means that it's a good one, you know, that it's really worked on me, because I've watched so many horror films at this point in my life that I do struggle to find ones that actually scare me. But I was hoping that this was going to be the one. Now, I did like certain nuances of the plot, which all in all I found quite unoriginal and basic, because, you know, it's just one of those typical things with a Ouija board, it going wrong as you would expect, and, you know, ensuing chaos occurs. I did like how this was a little bit different through the theme of the solar eclipse and the ideas of the sun god wanting to sacrifice a victim on this day, and that aligning with the girls doing the Ouija board. I thought that was really interesting, and that coming into play in the whole possession thing, which has obviously at this point in time been very overdone, but I did like how that little element was something that I hadn't really seen before in a horror film. I think that Sandra Escacena in the lead role as Veronica was great. She was able to build up this really desperate, wide-eyed tension quite insidiously throughout the film. So she didn't start off hysterical, she started off quite level-headed, and, you know, she was just a normal girl, but over the course of the 3 days which this film takes place in, she was able to become really believable, and I really connected with her, and I actually felt a little bit sorry for her, despite the fact that it kind of was all her fault, because, you know, the whole horror rule is that you shouldn't really mess with a Ouija board, but she was obviously just desperately trying to get in touch with her father, and you know, everyone experiences loss and grief, so you can empathize with her. She's a character you can empathize with. And I think that something else that I enjoyed was her interactions with her siblings. They have a relationship in the film which is like really sweet and funny, because although that, you know, they can be annoying because they're such young children and she's slightly older, she's a teenager, she, throughout the film and obviously what ensues, she's desperately trying to protect them, but she also has these really funny, cute little interactions with them, and it's really emotional and heartwarming at times. So I did enjoy that dynamic of it, and I think that Sandra in the lead role was great. She was really believable as just this normal girl that was suffering this terrible incident in her life. I thought that the design of the spirit slash ghost slash whatever it was in the film is really awesome. The pure black of the creature seemed different, almost like it was made of tar, and it was definitely chilling, the way it appeared, the way it moved, the way it sort of stalked Veronica. I think that the actual creature design was great, because you kind of really couldn't tell at times what it looked like, and it was always kind of half cast in shadow, and yeah, it was great. I thought that it was quite different as well, especially for a possession film. You know, we've seen things like The Conjuring, which is either, you know, you actually see the spirit or the spectre as like a real person, with it by being a witch or an old man, whereas this was just kind of this shapeless, inhuman form, and I thought that it was really cool. Character that I thoroughly enjoyed in this film, in terms of it being quirky and different from other films regarding possession that I'd seen before, was Sister Death. She's the nun at Veronica's school who is blind, and sort of coaches her throughout these experiences that she is beginning to have regarding the hauntings and the possession. She was very different, and you know, she sat there in the basement smoking her cigarette and, you know, basically bollocking Veronica for messing around with things that she shouldn't, and sort of those scenes where she is assisting Veronica and coaching her on what to do with regards to this spirit is haunting her were some of my favourites, just because I thought that they were incredibly tense, and I thought that the interactions between the two characters were great, and I thought that she was just a character that was really fun in a weird way, because we've seen a lot of nuns in horror films being the object of like the haunting or the possession itself, because we've got the Conjuring spin-off The Nun coming up. So the first thing I thought was, oh, this nun, she's really nice. She's a little bit weird, but she's trying her best, you know. She's not actually possessed or anything like that. She's just a woman that, you know, is in touch with the spirits, and she's telling this girl what to do. And I thought that was a nice change, because we've seen so many connotations with horrors over the years where the nuns have been evil or easily demented by the spirit. So I thought that was nice. I thought the final sequence, with everything coming to a head, Veronica desperately trying to get rid of the spirits and cast them out, was fantastic. I was sort of on the edge of my seat, because, you know, there were certain directorial choices which I thought were inspired. There was a circling shot during the final Ouija board scene where the camera just travels around each of the children continuously as they're chanting this mantra, and each time I expected something to be behind one of them, and it just kept going and going and going until like the tension was literally like up here. I thought that was brilliant. A really brilliant choice. I think the direction throughout, there were slow-mo shots, there was tracking shots. I thought that the direction was probably one of the best parts about this film, because it just allowed the tension to build up so much. When the glass from the Ouija board at the end rolls out of the room and just keeps on rolling, I think the direction has a way of holding you in until the last second, when you fail to expect anything anymore, and that's the way it sort of gets you. So I thought that it built up tension excellently. I did think in that same regard that this film was a little bit slow at times, particularly at the beginning. And I think that with the scenes that they did do, they could have done a little bit more with. They could have gone a little bit further, because it all kind of seemed to clump together in scenes where everything happened at once, and that sort of threw me off pacing wise. It was a little bit slow, but overall I thought it was a good modern horror film. We don't really get lots of those lately, in my opinion, so I was like pleasantly surprised by it, and for that reason I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Now I will say, the way that it was built up in the media and by people online, I was expecting a little bit more, and that's why I'm giving it 4 out of 5 stars, because it was a great Spanish horror film. But I guess it was my own mistake for reading so much about it first. You know, I know they could only do so much because it is based on a true story, but they also veered a lot from the true story. So I'm guessing that they could have done a lot more. And I don't really understand why people are hailing it as this absolutely terrifying film that they can't get through. Because I found it fine. I wasn't, you know, lying there at night like sleepless and, you know, thinking that some tar-looking demon was going to come into my room. I just thought it was good. I wasn't completely blown away by it, but I do appreciate that it was a good film, objectively. And yeah, if you're a horror connoisseur and you're looking for something to watch, I would recommend Veronica, but maybe don't believe all of the reviews out there that are saying that it's intensely scary and you won't be able to get through it, because I thought it was fine. But that's my review of Veronica. It's so great to be back into these reviews, guys. It feels really good, and if you want to, you can give me a like. And you can always leave a comment below with your thoughts about the film that I've been reviewing, and any suggestions that you might want to make for movies that you want me to review in the future. But that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next review. Bye!